And you just know that every time you're doing it, you're just stepping into another dimension of you. You're just accessing deeper layers of you, deeper layers of confidence. And deeper, you're really reaching into the reservoir of your power and you're bringing it up to the surface, because not only are you just looking at it and being like, I could do that, but you're not just doing that. You're like, yeah, fuck yeah. And you're dipping your hands in that and you're washing it over yourself. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Autopilot to Awake podcast. My name is Anya Capri, and I am your host. Okay. Today we're going to be talking about discomfort. This is our first episode, one where I'm actually full on allowing myself to meet my edges, which is what this episode is about. Like I said, discomfort, but meet my edges in a way that is extremely intentional. And it is in an effort to push past that which I told myself I was not capable of pushing past. I thought for a long time that I was pushing past things, right? But I feel like I was doing it in a way, and I know that I was doing it in a way that could be perceived externally as perfect or right or good or nice to look at. And as much as I am putting myself together for this, I internally and also on other platforms am practicing allowing myself to show up imperfectly, allowing myself to be perceived and seen in a way that is very much raw and unfiltered. And that is feeling really, really scary, but in a good way, in a way that I need, in a way that is necessary, I think. So today's episode is about discomfort and how discomfort can actually be a doorway. And this is something that I have been teaching myself over the past year or so. I've been teaching myself about how discomfort is not a deterrent. And this specifically is shown up in my workouts, in my exercise, right? And showing up consistently for my physical health and pushing past the limits of what I feel I'm capable of physically. And that has been, it has required a lot of self-talk, a lot of positive self-talk, and a lot of mantras. I've never used mantras so much than when I started to be in a movement practice, in a exercise routine, workout routine consistently. And those mantras have shifted the game for me. They changed the game for me, because when I'm in the moment where I want to come out of that lunge, or I want to come out of that squat, or I don't want to do the next push-up, in my mind, that there's multiple mantras that I use. And those mantras have assisted me in showing up consistently, but not giving up on myself in a moment of intense discomfort. And I tell myself one of my main mantras is discomfort is a doorway, because on the other side of this discomfort there is another layer of me that I meet, right? Every time I step through a door of discomfort, I am finding a new aspect of myself that I didn't know was there. I am showing myself and proving to myself how capable I am, how powerful I am. Like, I'm powerful as shit. And I, through physical movement, showing myself how powerful I am, it is unmistakable. It's not, you cannot refute that, right? You can't deny it. It is right there in front of me. And I am showing myself how capable I am when I just continue, when I continue to persevere, right? And I do it purposefully. I don't push to the point where I could harm myself. I do it in a way that's very purposeful and intentional. And I do it because I know on the other side of that challenge is so much self-love and self-respect. And so this episode is about discomfort being a doorway, because I feel as though there's a lot of us coming into our being, a lot of us coming into recognizing how powerful we are, how capable we are, but and it can feel so uncomfortable to come and meet that edge, right? Of, oh, I'm so powerful, and now I have to actually put that power into action. And that is confronting, it's challenging, it's requires a lot of you. It requires you to show up for yourself in a really real way. When you recognize your power, it you can't go back. There's no turning back. And you can always feel like you're turning back, but at the end of the day, you know it's there. Like there's really no undoing that awareness once you have it, once you have come up against it, right? So let's first discuss what discomfort, why discomfort comes up in the first place, right? When we're meeting our edges, when we are trying something new, when we are feeling something that maybe we have shoved away and we have ignored, that discomfort continues to crop up and continues to pop up because there is a message there, right? That is the divine being like, something's here. Something is here on the other side. Something's on the other side of this discomfort. You have to cross over the threshold to figure out what's on the other end of it. You have to confront the discomfort. You have to confront the discomfort. And a lot of reasons for me why discomfort was there was because there was a requirement for me to choose a different option. There was a requirement for me to opt into a different action. I had to actually follow through on things that before I would quit on. I had to follow through and consistently show up for things that I would shove into the back of the closet. Like I have other things I have to do, and I would have a reason all the time why I couldn't show up for this thing. And there would be discomfort even as I said it, because I knew in the back of my mind that it wasn't true. I did have time. I just didn't want to make it, right? I wasn't at the place yet where I was sick enough of my own shit for me to actually like meet the discomfort and cross over the threshold of the doorway of that. And I think for you, it could be that you are comfortable. And discomfort takes you out of comfortability. It just is what it is. It takes you out of comfortability, and it's not fun to come out of comfortability, right? We're taught that, comfort is safe. Comfort equals safety. And when we're comfortable and we're safe, why would we want to disrupt that reality? The thing is, when you start to evolve and grow and you start to want more for your life and for yourself, it's inevitable that you're going to have to question and ask yourself, do I want to stay in this comfort zone, or do I have to make the quest out of the comfort zone? Do I want to make the quest out of the comfort zone? Is this thing that I want, do I want it enough for me to face the discomfort head on? And for me, it was yes, I do. Because for me, like I said about physical fitness, I was tired of not fitting into my clothes properly. I was tired of my leggings falling down. I was tired of putting on clothing, and I had diastasis recti after having my son. So my abs were really separated, and so I had a big bulge in my belly that made me look like I was still pregnant. He was 1 year old. And I was like, yeah, no, this has got to go. Like I feel so uncomfortable in my body. I feel uncomfortable in my clothes. I don't feel like myself. I don't feel beautiful. I don't feel confident. I don't feel confident. I didn't feel confident. And so I said, okay, the discomfort of consistently showing up in a physical fitness practice and the discomfort of having to do the thing even when I did not feel like it was worth it. And my mantras of discomfort is a doorway and I choose to step through it. That was one of my main mantras that I used because it was a choice. And I had up to that point understood that my choice carries me from one moment to the next. My choice is an active component in the entire process of my evolution and of my growth. And so I get to choose whether or not I'm going to make the choice in this direction or make the choice in another. And I kept making the choice in the direction that brought me closer and closer and closer and deeper into showing like being and feeling like the woman that I am and that I felt like inside, or that I wanted to see when I looked in the mirror, right? I wanted my inside to match my outside because I felt good inside. I had done a lot of work and continue to do work. We're never done the work, but I had done a lot of spiritual work, right? A lot of work around my ego and a lot of work around just my past, my trauma. And I felt a lot of liberation internally, but externally, I could tell that it needed to go beyond just internal spiritual choices. It had to trickle out into 3D actions that were going to benefit me externally, right? And be something I could see on myself instead of just feel inside myself. So for me, discomfort is something that I feel we need to support each other when we're walking through, right? And we need to normalize discomfort. Discomfort is something that needs not be ignored. It needs not be um, seen as something that is dangerous. It needs to not be seen as something that should be avoided. We should not avoid discomfort. You should not avoid discomfort because that is where you meet yourself in a really real way. You meet yourself in discomfort in a really, really real way. This bass bracelet is making a lot of sound. Put it down. But you meet yourself in a really real way when you allow yourself to um, take on discomfort, right? When you, like in a video game, you are fighting up against an enemy in the game, right? And as soon as you slay the enemy, you're able to walk up to them and take their gun, take their pew pew, right? You're able to take the pew pew from them, and you're able to add it to your arsenal. Same thing with discomfort. When you are able to like bulldoze down the doors of discomfort, whether that's following through on the workout, whether that's doing the meal prep, whether that's having the water instead of the wine. When you're able to do that over and over and over and over again, you are, every time you draw more and more power from that thing that used to draw power from you, the thing that you would succumb to so easily. And eventually, when you start to become frustrated with yourself and you're like, damn it, I don't want to do this anymore, you begin to find joy in bulldozing down that door of discomfort and choosing the other thing and following through on what you said you wanted to do, going in the direction of the thing that you said you wanted to go toward. And discomfort is something that eventually it starts to become a game, right? When you start to say, okay, I'm gonna meet you head on. Like, I'm not gonna avoid you. Like, you're not something I avoid anymore. And that's something a season I'm in right now, is seeing in a moment where I am experiencing deep discomfort, and I'm like, I would rather turn around right now and not do this thing. I would really, really rather not, and I could full on do that shit right now. But I choose not to. I choose to be like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing. And today I literally had a sob session because I was so proud of myself. I posted something on social media that, if I'm gonna be honest, I didn't feel like it wasn't aesthetically pleasing. It wasn't clickbaity. It wasn't something that when I look on social media, I'm seeing people doing, right? Looking imperfect, having on, chill house clothes, not like matching cute lounge sets. I was walking on my walking pad, grooving out to some music, and it made me feel so good in the moment. I felt great. I felt great, right? However, when I looked at it, I watched it over and over and over again. And I was like, are you really going to post this? Are you really going to put this out for people to see you in an imperfect state? And I had to really like sit with it. Like, am I going to do that? And I really had to question it. And I did it. And I was so proud of myself. And I still am so proud of myself. Like, damn, bro. You are pushing past the edges of what you feel you're allowed to do and who you're allowed to be and who you're allowed to show up as and how you're allowed to be seen and what safety feels like. I am establishing my relationship with safety. And that's a lot of what happens when you start to bulldoze down the doors of discomfort over and over and over again. And you just start running through them bitches. You are reestablishing your relationship with safety, and you're deciding what safety looks like. You're deciding that discomfort does not have to equal a lack of safety. And I'm not talking about discomfort like, oh, this person's standing really close to me. Can they move the fuck away? Like, it's not like that. Or this person seems like they're up to something. I don't feel safe. We're not talking about that kind of discomfort. We're talking about internal discomfort with you, like something that you know that you need to do, or thinking about having a tough conversation, that kind of thing, where you're like, oh, this is prickly. It's prickly. I don't like how that feels. And you still do it anyway, right? And that's bulldozing down the doors of discomfort, because you're just kicking that bitch in and you're be like, I'm walking over the threshold. Fuck it, you know? And you're establishing a relationship with yourself to where discomfort does not no longer equates to a lack of safety. And I want to come on and share that, because we're a lot of us, and maybe you are coming into a place where you're having to start making different choices. You're having to start making decisions that are so different from what you're used to making. You're feeling the pull to show up in a way that is so opposite, right? Or so much more deeply authentic to you. And all the questions, and it's so true that as soon as you are starting to really become your fullest, truest, rawest, most authentic self, that's when that voice in your head gets loud as shit. I am a testament to that. Today, when I went to go post that video, I was honoring a core value that I choose to show up in consistently, which is that I don't want to just be seen. I want to be felt. My joy in that video was real. And on this end, I know that. Out there, someone may perceive it as, oh, she doesn't look pretty enough, right? And they may bypass it. They might just look right past it. And I have to, and I want to, and I'm so happy that I'm able to acknowledge that that person just wasn't meant to come into my orbit, right? They weren't meant to be in my community at this time. And I like it like that, right? I don't want to give into the discomfort in a way where I backpedal and I'm like, no, I just want people to see me this way. No, I want people to feel me for real, right? As I create online, as I show up, I want to be seen. I want to be felt for real. And when you see me, it's beyond just seeing me. I don't want you to just look at me and be like, oh, I like her outfit, or I like her hair, I like her makeup, or I like her background. Like, I don't want it to just be on that type of time. I want it to be, damn, I fucks with her. Like, damn, that felt good. I like what she was saying. I felt really seen. I felt like I felt her. And it's hard to put into words, but that's what I aspire to. And that's what I am building, like the foundation of what I am building, the community that I'm building online and in person, is one where I am not just looked at and I'm not just a pretty face. I'm a presence. And that requires for me to bulldoze down doors of discomfort in a way that I never thought I would have to. I never thought that I would have to be like, bro, you don't have no makeup on, bro. You don't got no earrings on. You ain't got no cute ass fitness outfit on. You looking like you in your house just chilling, but look at you, like you feel good though. And I had to let that now get comfortable. And now I'm reestablishing my relationship with safety to say, yeah, that's safe, right? Being felt rather than seen as aesthetically pleasing, but being felt as someone that feels themselves, right? In a way that's really raw and authentic. That's where my safety lies. Not in the perception of someone seeing me and like me meeting some sort of standard. That's not particularly what I'm in this for, right? I'm not here for that, because that's the narrative and that's the status quo that I feel we need to shift away from. That's why a lot of us feel so, for me, that's why I've always felt so crippled when it came to creating content and coming online, because I felt like I had to show up a certain way. I couldn't be imperfect, or I wouldn't get any, people wouldn't want to watch me. And it's like, no, like, you watch people, right? When you watch the people that you watch, what do they offer you? They offer me a feeling. They don't always be put together, looking all joie and zhuzhed up. They offer me a feeling. They offer me a service, right? That is to my soul. And that's what my intention is. And so I show up in that, no matter what I'm looking like. However, I have to push through and really meet the edge of my discomfort over and over and over again in order to maintain that compass, to maintain that intention. And so I offer this to you as just something to ponder. Where is it in your life that discomfort, there are doorways of discomfort that you might need to start walking through? Asking yourself, what's on the other side of that? Like, what would it look like if you were to step through it? Like, if you could imagine the best possible outcome, what would that look like? And also, if you could imagine the worst possible outcome, write that shit down too. And then burn it. Write it down, get the emotions out, put every possible convoluted, conflabbed outcome, write it out on the paper, and then burn that shit. Take the power away from it, because as soon as it stays up here, it's free to come through in your perception of the world, right? And you'll find proof for that outcome being possible. But as soon as you put it out there on a piece of paper and you burn it, you release the energy, and now all that's left is opportunity. All you see is opportunity and possibility of the best outcome. It just requires for you to do this practice over and over and over again, and know and accept that if you want to get to a certain body, right? If you want to achieve a certain physique, if you want to achieve or bring certain kind of relationships into your life, or stop doing certain things and break certain patterns and habits in your life, it's going to require you to push up against your edges. You're going to be uncomfortable. It is inevitable that you're going to be uncomfortable, because you've been comfortable for so long and you're used to that. You're used to that space. This, however, when you start to change, yeah, it's gonna be different. Your mind's not gonna be used to it. Your body's not gonna be used to it. Your nervous system is not gonna be used to it in any way, shape, or form. So you're going to be deeply challenged. And that's good, because as soon as you decide that that discomfort you are worth, right? What you are working toward is worth the discomfort. You the challenge of discomfort, the texture of discomfort feels a little less intimidating. It feels less intimidating because you just keep doing it. And you just know that every time you're doing it, you're just stepping into another dimension of you. You're just accessing deeper layers of you, deeper layers of confidence. And deeper, you're really reaching into the reservoir of your power, and you're bringing it up to the surface, because not only are you just looking at it and being like, I could do that, but you're not just doing that. You're like, yeah, fuck yeah. And you're dipping your hands in that and you're washing it over yourself. Sorry, my camera died. But you are washing that power over yourself, right? You are covering yourself in it. You're integrating it into yourself, right? It's not just dormant. It's not dormant. Now you are putting it into practice. You're practicing your power actively, purposefully, on purpose. So that was my word for you today. It was question every moment where you decide that something feels uncomfortable. If you experience the discomfort, ask yourself if you feel as though you're worth it. to bulldoze down that door of that discomfort? Are you worth it to you? Do you really want the thing that is on the other side of the doorway? Do you really want what is on the other side of that threshold? Is it something that you really desire? And if it is, just know that that discomfort is not something that's dangerous. It is an inevitable part of you transforming. It is a necessary aspect of evolution. Okay? Tell me what y'all think about this. It's my first episode. I appreciate you being here. My kids and my husband are talking out in the living room. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it. I have the microphone, so I do hope that it didn't pick up too much of them out there, but I appreciate you for being here. And this is one episode of many. This space is just for us to step into practicing our power, putting our power into intentional practice, and showing ourselves how capable we are. We get to do what we want to because we say so. We are capable of accomplishing what we desire because we say so. We just have to follow through on what we say we're going to do. And there it is, you know? So I'll see you on my next episode.